Hey guys, Casual Crono here. I kind of debated whether or not to make a video about Sesta. She's grossly overpowered, definitely one of the meta characters as of January 24, and she really doesn't need that much of an explanation. But I thought I might go ahead and make a video anyway, just because she is a sought out character. A lot of people want to get her on the team, and I figure some people probably don't know how to make the most of her. So let's go ahead and do that. So Sesta, if you get lucky and pull her, she will solve a lot of your problems, even completely unequipped. She's just that powerful. So let's look at her skill set. Once you can, you want to try and get all of the skills possible for her, so do all of the character quests. And I'm not really sure how much it matters what you even equip on her, because basically what you'll use is her base skill, which is called Twin Blade Wolf. That particular skill, as long as there are 4 wind characters in the front, you will get an awakened wind stance, and every single turn she gets 1 stack of Divine Wolf at the start of the turn, and you use that to do Twin Blade Wolf. What some people don't realize is if you don't use the stack, it stays there. So the enhanced awakened Wind King stance lasts for 4 turns. On the 4th turn, if you don't use Twin Blade Wolf, it sticks around for the 5th turn when you don't have a zone. Now obviously, if you don't have a zone, you lose all the bonus damage and everything, but it is possible to do Twin Blade Wolf when you don't have a wind zone active. You can only do it once because it uses up that Divine Wolf stack, but just food for thought. So the key is you need 3 characters in the front with Sesta that are wind characters. And I'm going to tell you right now, for a lot of content, it does not matter what these wind characters are. So we're just going to filter by wind and find 3 absolutely weak characters. Let's throw in Lovina, Darnius, and who's next? Yazuki. Okay, they're all level 60. None of them are equipped with anything. No gear, no Grasta, nothing. All they are wind characters. And then Sesta. And Sesta herself right now, no gear, no Grasta. She's literally a level 80 character, and that's it. Okay. And just to show you how ridiculously overpowered she is, I'm going to show you 2 quick manifest fights, Elga's fight and Rinri's fight. Elga does not have any gear or Grasta either, except for her manifest weapon. Rinri, same situation. So first of all, why those 2? We're going to start with Elga. Wind characters are naturally strong against earth characters, and Elga's manifest fight is an earth fight. So, turn 1, Sesta, 3 wind characters. Because of that, we now have an awakened wind zone, and Sesta can cast this Twin Blade Wolf. It basically is a chain of skills. It will cast multiple skills once, and whatever the highest level of that skill is, that's the one that's activated. So, we're going to cast Twin Blade Wolf.
These are the cries of the voiceless.
And there you go. A manifest weapon was completely obliterated. If you pull Sesta, I can tell you right now, a lot of the old manifest fights do not require any gear. They do not require any Grasta. They simply require Sesta. You can walk in and basically get a whole bunch of Crono stones this way. So that was Elga and her manifest fight, and so now we're going to do Rinri's. She is a fire user, and wind is weak to fire, so yes, we're going to challenge the weapon again. Skip. Alright, round 1. Sesta goes.
These are the cries of the voiceless.
and hits Rinri's HP stopper. And then the other 3 characters just smack things. Round 2.
Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
No big surprise. Sesta destroyed it.
Sesta's fangs always
So if you
on
happen to
target.
draw Sesta, and you have a ton of manifest fights that have been lying around for a while, don't worry, she's got it handled for you. So now let's go ahead and see what we can do to build Sesta to make her even more lethal. So we're now in Nagsham, and the first assembly I want to do is a relatively free team. So let me finish up here. Where is 7? Alright, so Sesta, as you know, needs to have 3 wind characters in the front row for her abilities to activate. And so I threw in Amy, Azami, and Morgana. I have 7 and Curio as well. All of these are free characters except 7. However, 7 is a fairly common pull. So let's look at Sesta. We want to give her gear that will help her. For weapons, when you're choosing a weapon, obviously try to go for things that have a lot of attack or bonuses that will help out. Critical rate is not terribly important for her because in Twin Blade Wolf she gains 100% critical strike. So other things you would want to look for are things that would improve your type attacks, speed, stuff like that. So I went with Void Katana. It improves your type attack. It does have critical rate 100%. That really doesn't factor in, but Void Katana does improve type attack. For armor, you want to do basically the same thing. You want to pick armor that improves her damage somehow. Dryad's Ring from Intrana's Another Dungeon. Critical strength is improved if you equipped it. Elpis Ring from Omegapolis Another Dungeon. It can improve her damage if her health drops below 80%. Other gear that can help out, let's see. Guidance Ring, I used on her for a long time. It improves type attack. Other things, things like Glimmer Ring improves critical strength and speed. Ring of Might, once it's maxed out, it will improve damage by, it's like 15% or something like that. I forget the exact number when you're at max health, and so forth and so on. So any of those are good choices. The Ring of Might is pretty easy to get, so I went ahead and equipped it for this next demo. For your badge, you want a power badge or something that improves power or damage. So you can throw on things like Sword Savior badge, the new stuff, power plus 30, an AF combo rate. You can do other things like Vitality badge. When she has max health, her damage is increased by 20%. If you don't have any bullseye ore, you could do a bullseye badge, but they don't stack. So if you don't have, or if you do have a Grasta upgrade with bullseye, the badge isn't going to help you. Berserker badge, her power increases by 40, but she takes a little more damage, and so forth. So I just switched to power, and I just went with a power plus 30 for right now. So go with whatever you have. For Grasta, usually the pain or poison Grasta are the best to use. In this case, I happen to have 3 pain Grasta. I have Power of Agony, that was upgraded with Bullseye. I have Power of Pain, which was upgraded with the MP consumption attack for an extra 15% damage. And then Windburned Pain, which I believe was a drop from the Astral Archives, but it's also a pain, and it also improves wind types attacks by 20%. So I've upgraded her. The other characters in the party pretty much don't have anything. Azami technically has a stats badge, plasma ring, and her own manifest, but Grasta-wise, none of them have any Grasta. And back row, same thing. They have no gear aside. Oh, I guess 7 still has a plasma rod. Curio still has regret. Grasta-wise, no Grasta that helps out. Some of them have their own personal Grasta, but doesn't help. So this is just Sesta geared and Grasta'd. And let's take a look at the test dummy. Remember, on the Manifest fights, she was doing around 2 million or so per swing on the final attack of Twin Blade Wolf. So on turn 1, in this case I chose Morgana because he can improve wind type attacks for 1 turn. Other than that, he really can't do that much. Her Petal Fall, remember, inflicts pain for 3 turns. It does attack last, so it won't help on this first turn. And then Amy, she has 1 attack that reduces physical resistance and 1 that improves the power of party members by 20%. So I don't know which one really matters. We'll just do that one first. And then Sesta, you'll notice that her first attack has turned into Twin Blade Wolf. With gear and her own Grasta, she just did 70 million per hit on the final attack. So she did 140 million damage just on that final attack alone on the dummy. And that was before pain. Now, Petal Fall has gone and we have pain for 3 turns. So we can reduce wind resistance with Azami. The wind type attacks for 1 turn. We did charge stance, so now we can do... Actually, we did physical resistance, didn't we? So now we can do charge stance, and she's going to Twin Blade Wolf. And now the final attack does 260,000 damage per swing. So we just did 540 million damage on that final attack. And that was not factoring in all the other damage that her previous attacks did. Remember, these 3 characters are unequipped. I'm just simply casting skills that buff Sesta or reduce resistances on the dummy. That's all I'm doing. And then, what turn is it? We're on turn 3. We're going to use this turn. I'm going to show you how you can use Twin Blade Wolf when this expires. So let's not attack the dummy. So I'm just casting skills that won't hurt the dummy. Well, I guess Petal Fall kind of hurt, but not enough. Alright. On the 4th turn, the awakened wind zone has disappeared. So there is no awakened zone. However, she can still Twin Blade Wolf, because on turn 3, I did not use up that 1 charge, that Divine Wolf stack. So for 1 single turn, I can cast Twin Blade Wolf still. And let's go ahead and kill the dummy, shall we? So...
These are the cries of the voiceless.
So you'll see she's Twin Blade Wolfing even though she's not in a wind zone anymore. Now, her damage was decreased tremendously. Awakened Wind Zone improves her damage a lot. So you do lose damage that way. Just realize it is possible to Twin Blade Wolf even when you're not in a Awakened Wind Zone. Now, had there been another turn, a turn 6, she couldn't have Twin Blade Wolfed at that point. She was out of those Divine Wolf stacks. So anyway, that was Sesta, geared with mid-game type of gear, Void Katana, Ring of Might, Power Badge, and basically 3 Power of Pain type Grastas with your kind of standard upgrades. Nothing super fancy. So now what I would like to do is play around a little bit more and show you how some support characters can boost Sesta even further. Sesta is a Wind Katana user. You can use the wiki to look up what her personality traits are, but now they finally show up in the UI. It's kind of in a weird place. Instead of just being on the ability screen, you know, like Valor Chant skill personality might make sense. No, you have to go to the Ability tab. If you go to the Ability and go to the very first one where it has a description of the character, you now see that she is a Katana user, an Avenger, and a Wind user. Those are her 3 traits. Let's find some Katana Wind users. Curio and Azami are both free characters that are Katana and Wind users. By doing that, we can buff her up. So let's do Katana. We're going to enhance damage when she's at max health. We're going to enhance damage when she's at low health, below 80%. I like to have both of those on the same character, so that the same backup character, so that way no matter what the fight's doing, if she's at full health, if she's at half health, this character is boosting her somehow. And then I also like to have Power of Gale Katana, which is gotten from present day Garulia's dungeon. It improves all wind type attacks for Katana users by 30% once it's fully upgraded. So Azami all the time is doing a 30% bonus because of the wind Grasta, and then depending on her health, gets another 30% or 40%. So that's how Azami is helping Sesta. Now Sesta is an Avenger. It just so happens that Sukiya is also an Avenger. So she has the Avenger Grasta. It's a little bit trickier to get. You have to get no access and go through a few boss fights. But if you have it, it gives her another 25% damage. Sukiya also is holding Sound Body Katana. That improves Sesta's health and magic by 50. Health by 300. So Sesta now has 3,800 health. The third Grasta she had was just a debuff resistance boost. You could also give like sound, or you could give the Katana regen. Let's switch to Katana. Go here. I could give her the power of regen, which means that Sesta would constantly have regen if I wanted to. Like, there's other options, but this one, 25%, and whoops, sound body, extra health. So low survivability, low extra damage. So those are my back row Grasta holders. And then front row, if I had more Katana Grasta, I could always equip Curio with that stuff. I could also look at wind-related Grasta and see if there's anything there that would help. Which actually there is, but it's not showing up in this list. Not sure if it's an oversight or just how it's coded, but I happen to have Enhance if max HP Wind. It's another 10% damage when the character's at max health, and it affects all party members. So if I give that to Curio, he is providing Sesta an additional 10% damage. And then other things, Garum Barrel, not quite a free character, but he was a selector choice. A lot of people have him, so he can act kind of as a tank. He's kind of a weak tank, but his gear and Grasta are just geared towards tanking for the most part. But he does have a few skills that can help as well. With Caterus Sigfrida, I'm going to mispronounce that horribly. He can inflict pain, so he can be a pain setter if I want to. And he can do some tanking. He can inflict rage, he can improve his own physical resistance, and he can improve type resistance for everybody. So he can also reduce power and intellect to the enemies to reduce the incoming damage. So not the best tank, but he's one that a lot of people have. And then we have Suzette. Now, my Suzette has the Stellar Awakening, and I realize not everyone has that. So I've picked skills that do not involve her Stellar Awakening. I do have Demonic Thrust equipped, and its Stellar Awakening has boosted a little bit more, so it's basically persistent instead of like a 3 or 5 turn pain. But even before that, it still reduces power by 40, intellect by 40. So that's not a Stellar Awakening bonus, that's just a regular Demonic Thrust. And I went ahead and equipped Jet Black Thrust because that one does a little bit less. And Suzette and Garum, both being wind users, could equip that Enhance if max HP, Wind, Grasta. You know, it doesn't have to be Curio. But anyway, Sesta now has bonus damage from Curio, bonus from Azami, and bonus from Sukiya. Let's see how she is with the test dummy now. Same gear, same Grasta on Sesta. The only thing that's changed now is the team composition and the Grasta on the team. So Demonic Thrust is preemptive. It should go before her Twin Blade Wolf. And let's see. Let's have Curio just improve physical resistance, and he will improve physical resistance. So the only damage you could be seeing is the Twin Blade Wolf damage.
Sesta will repay. These are the cries of the voiceless.
And you can see on the very first turn, she's already damaged the test dummy by more than half. Alright guys, to test this out, we're going to fight the Lacus Solitudinis, one of the bosses you can get once you've completed the Sword and Wings Mythos, Chapter 8. This particular one is weak to wind, which works out great since Sesta is a wind user. For the team, we're going to stick with a free group. We're going to stick with Sesta, Azami, Curio, and Amy, with Sukiya in the background. I know technically Sukiya is not free, but she's only contributing 25% extra damage and giving Sesta 300 health, so she's not terribly necessary. In fact, why don't we just go ahead and remove her? Okay, there's our free team. Sesta and 3 wind users. The wind users are holding all the Grasta, the extra damage, you know, extra damage there, and Curio holding the 10% at max HP. Sesta is still equipped with Void Katana, Ring of Might, just a regular old power badge, and the 3 pains. So basically we have Azami, our pain setter, and 4 wind users. And no sidekicks, nothing else. As far as sidekicks, by the way, Sesta relies on power, so if you have Hyuga, he stacks power, so he is definitely a thought. Aside from him, there aren't any really strong sidekicks. Tetra is always good, but of course you have to have pulled Minalka for that. Gunts is pretty good if you plan on blowing the AF bar, because when you do, when it's empty, all members' stats improve by 20%, including Sesta's power. But again, you have to have Valette to get Gunts. And of the free characters, none of them are particularly helpful. Morty, possibly the best, because he improves the party's power and it stacks, but you have to go through a lot to get Morty as well. So we're just going to do this without sidekicks.
We've got an ace up our sleeves.
So the boss tries to deploy Earth Stance, but because we have an awakened Wind Zone, it trumps it. Sesta's going to Twin Blade Wolf because that's pretty much what you always do with her. We're going to go ahead and do Petal Fall to inflict pain. We're going to improve our physical resistance just in case, and she is going to improve the party's power by 20%.
Listen. These are the cries.
Sesta by herself will probably drop it to the 50% mark. It tries to redeploy Earth Stance. No good. And now, pain has been applied. We've already boosted power, so at this point I could do double hurricane to reduce physical resistance. He could improve the party's power by 35%. She could inflict break, though if you do inflict break and you're using Sesta, her first attack will use up the break, not her final one. So break isn't, I mean, it's helpful, but it's just not necessary, I guess. So I could do wind resistance reduction. Sesta, of course, Twin Blade Wolf. As long as Sesta goes first, the fight's already over.
These are the cries of the
See, she didn't even get to her final attack The boss was already dead.
Sesta did good.
So that was Sesta with a free team, no background, no sidekicks. So that's how you can use her in the intermediate. So now let's take a look at Sesta against a very difficult boss. So in the first test dummy, when we had Sesta with 3 unequipped characters, they cast skills to buff her power, to reduce the resistance of the test dummy, and so forth. And that Sesta did about 260 million per swing on the final Twin Blade Wolf attack. Then in the second test dummy, we had the same Sesta equipped the same way, but then we had 3 characters with Grasta that improved her damage at max health and so forth. They didn't cast skills that improved her power and everything. They just simply held Grasta, and again she did around 260 million damage per swing. This time we have a team that are holding Grasta, and they're going to buff and they're going to debuff. So we're going to see the difference there. Sesta is still equipped the same way, except that for her badge I reduced her speed to make sure that she goes last. Otherwise she has the Void Katana, Ring of Might, and the same 3 Grasta that we've been using. We have Melody, who Grasta-wise doesn't have anything that helps. However, Melody has a few skills that helps. She can set pain, so we're going to use that, and her Dark Drill attack reduces wind resistance by 50%. She also has Magical Smash, which improves wind type of attacks by 20% and critical damage by 20%. Yifa is carrying the Enhance if Max HP Wind Grasta, but otherwise does not have anything of value. But she has a skill, Benoct Bua, that improves strength by 50% and damage by 50%, and power and so forth. So basically she has a skill that will improve damage as well. And then we have Curio, who has several skills. Transient Glory improves party for all members by 35%. And when a type zone, like the wind zone, is deployed, wind attacks will be improved by 50% for all party members. As far as Grasta, he's not holding any. And then in my back row, I happen to have Akane. She is the one now holding the Enhance if Max HP and Low HP Grasta, and she has the Sound Body, whereas Sukiya now is holding the power of Gale, the Avenger, and again the proficiency debuff. So now I have teammates that can improve Sesta's power, improve Sesta's attack, improve her critical damage. I have teammates that can reduce resistances, and then I have all the same Grasta that we were using before. We have 2 sidekicks, but neither one is going to do anything particularly helpful, so let's just go ahead and remove them to get them out of the equation entirely. So first test dummy video that you saw was Sesta's raw power added with team buffs only. Second test dummy you saw was Sesta with Team Grasta equipped, but the team was not doing any buffs or debuffs. So this third one is basically a combination. You are going to see Sesta with the same gear pretty much, with team buffs, with resistances factored in, and with all the Grasta. So we're going to see if her final attack does more than 260 million damage. So the first turn we're just going to set up, so Sesta's not going to do anything. Depravity is preemptive, so I can cast that on turn 2 and Sesta will gain the benefit of the pain. So turn 1, I will go ahead and reduce wind resistance on the dummy. The Benoct Bua is only good for 1 turn, so if I cast it right now, it's not going to do anything. I could improve the team's speed, but more importantly, I can improve their type attack by 30%. So she's going to cast Anna Roar. And between Deathstroke and Transient Glory. They both last 3 turns, 5 turns. Let's just go ahead and improve the power of all party members by 35. And the wind type attacks by 50%. So basically, we're doing 1 debuff and 2 buffs. And Sesta's not attacking. Now, on turn 2, we're going to have Sesta do her Twin Blade Wolf. Because her speed is low, the other characters should go first. We're going to cast Depravity, and that is going to give the monster pain. Monster, test dummy. Now we're going to cast our Benacht Buah, which improves strength, damage, power, etc. And now we're going to go ahead and cast the Deathstroke, which will reduce physical resistance by 15%. I didn't check Kirio's speed, but I'm pretty sure he's going to go first. So let's see what the final attack of Twin Blade Wolf does now that we have Grasta equipped, resistances put on, buffs put on, everything. Here we go, final hit. Over 1 billion. It looked like 1.2 billion if I saw it correctly. So basically, Sesta with team buffs only was doing a decent bit. Sesta with Grasta only was doing a decent bit. When you combine team buffs, debuffs, and Grasta all together, you saw Sesta doing 1.2 billion damage per swing, which means that final attack did 2.2 or 2.3 billion damage in one shot. And that was just turn 2. She could have kept attacking on turns 3 and 4 if the monster had more than 2 billion health. So that is how you can assemble a team, with Grasta, buffs and debuffs, and do well. So here we are in Arat, and we're going to test one of my favorite barrier type bosses, the Mysterious Chaos Ogre Hard. Again, just to show that I don't have any upgraded equipment, because this fight can make use of extra equipment. There you go, I don't. So this time, the team is Sesta, Melody, Yifa, and Soira, with supporting characters Azami and Sukiya. Sidekick-wise, we have Tetra and Guns. Tetra is great for healing, and when the team loses more than 20% of their health, they gain some stats. That is one of his aura effects. The team will max HP and MP goes up, and physical and magic resistance go up as well. Guns, when you blow the AF bar, all party member stats will improve by 20%. So if I blew the AF bar on turn number 1, for example, then everyone's stats goes up by 20. So the Mysterious Chaos Ogre Hard is one of the top ranked super bosses right now. And he is pretty annoying. Every single turn, he will try and reduce my health by a fair amount with his Spiral Curse. So you can see right away, my team is weakened. However, that means that the Enhance while max HP is below 80% Grasta is taking into effect right now. The Chaos Ogre has a barrier. You can see it right there. There's 35 stacks, which means for most teams, you have to hit it 35 times before you can actually start doing damage. However, Twin Blade Wolf's final attack ignores barriers. It's barrier piercing. So Sesta doesn't care about that. For the rest of the team, Melody is going to cast Pain by using Depravity. We are going to go ahead and Faith this time, Soira, so that her luck is maxed out, and she is going to beef up her defenses. So this is going to be turn number 1. I could blow the AF bar on turn 1 if I wanted to, but I can't use Faith during the AF bar. You'll notice there's 0 damage now. However, her final attack already took him down to half his health. Now thanks to Tetra and Melody's aura, the team healed back up, but then the curse hurts my team again. However, thanks to the auras, if we go to Sesta, her max health has gone up, her physical and magical resistance now have gone up, and everyone's benefiting from Voice and Seer's type resistance. Well, not everyone. Soira is. So, I can cast Binoct Bua this turn, and that will improve her damage even more. Now that Depravity's been cast, I have choices. I could improve wind-type attacks with Magical Smash, or I can reduce the boss's wind resistance by 50%. So, kind of an either-or situation. I'm going to go ahead and improve wind attacks. We've cast Voice and Seer, so now I could cast Elemental Guard, which does affect the whole party, or I can start reducing the boss's power even more, so I'm going to go that route. So Twin Blade Wolf, and then buffs and debuffs. I could also blow the AF bar if I wanted to. Now would be a good time to do that.
Listen. These are the cries of the
And the final attack brings the boss down to 10%. And the boss gets very mad at this point. You'll notice that this barrier, it's down to 16. It never mattered to Sesta. Her final attack is barrier piercing. And that's basically what I wanted to show you. So here on this final turn, this particular boss will kill my team if I don't kill it first. As you can probably guess, with that much health left and you seen Sesta doing her amount of damage, as long as Sesta goes first, this fight's over. So now we'll go ahead and Dark Drill and reduce wind resistance. She's going to Binoct again to improve damage. And it doesn't really matter what Soira does. I'll just cast Noblesse Oblige just to be on the safe side. That redirects all damage to her. But it didn't even have a chance. Final attack, 200 million each swing. So 400 million in that final attack. So that's another example of how Sesta can be used endgame style. As you can imagine, if the boss is weak to wind or something like that, she's even stronger. So in this Sesta video, you saw how Sesta, basically by herself, could destroy early manifest weapons and easy bosses, pretty much completely unequipped. You saw how with some free characters, she's able to handle mid-level bosses, levels 7, 8, 9 on the wiki rankings. And you saw how an advanced team could take down level 10 type super bosses. She's also great at farming, and I'm going to give you an example of that now. I have Sesta. She has Elpis Dagger and Ring of Might, and then if you have a Falcon badge, that is your key to easy farming. It does a preemptive attack once in battle, and her first attack is going to be, what? Twin Blade Wolf, of course. And then she just has the same Grasta as before, the power of pains and agonies. And then I just have 3 random schmucks, and then my Grasta holders in the back. So the random schmucks don't have any gear, they don't have any Grasta. And the 2 Grasta holders in the back have the usual max HP, low HP, sound body, power of Gale, Almighty Avenger, and proficiency. And I guess while we're at it, let's go ahead and give one of the wind users the Enhance if max HP wind Grasta. Now I don't have a pain setter, so Sesta might actually be a little stronger if I gave her 3 Power of Gales with Bullseye, MP consumption. So we'll see how it goes. Sidekicks, usual sidekicks. So Sesta, 3 random people. We're going to hit up Intrana. And we're just going to speed run it. Sesta will always have the first attack because of the Falcon badge. As of this recording, this is the hardest of the 2 green key dungeons. It's February 2024. And we are going to knock this thing out in just a few minutes. So I'm getting all the catnaps so I can buy some more Grasta. Here comes our first horror. Hello, Mr. Horror.
Jeez, what an annoying enemy.
Vibrant Talon.
Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
And the horror's dead.
I was hoping it would be more fun.
Any more catnaps? Nope. Gonna run over to Turrialba. Enter this area. Now, of course, if you want to explore, farm, whatever, that's totally fine. But this dungeon can be run very quickly. Now, without the Falcon badge, this horror can actually kind of melt your team if you get really unlucky.
These are the cries of the voiceless.
I was hoping it would be more fun.
You can attempt to put on speed badges, but they don't always guarantee that you'll go first.
Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
And there you go. Sesta with 3 random level 60 schmucks and a bunch of Grasta that helps her out. Didn't even have pain on this. And she cleared that in about 2 minutes flat. No issues, no danger at all. So if you have Sesta, it's easy to create a farming team. And I would probably throw in schmucks that gave me more light or shadow, depending on which one you're going for, so you can maximize your rewards. But I wanted to give you an example of basically Omegapolis, Indrana, Underworld, Present Guerrilla, Future Guerrilla, Antiquity Guerrilla, all of those she just destroys. That was the hardest one, and you saw no issues whatsoever. So if you want to, she's not useful just for super bosses. She can be part of a farming team, and a very easy one at that. So anyway, that is kind of my coverage on Sesta. Extremely powerful character right out of the box. One of those few characters that really doesn't need a lot of explanation just to get her mechanics working. But I wanted to show you how if you add in characters that can buff, add in characters that can debuff, add in Grasta, how she can be a complete killing machine. And her final attack in Twin Blade Wolf is barrier piercing, so all those monsters that have like 99 barriers or 50 barriers, Sesta doesn't care, she's going to destroy them. So anyway, I hope this helped you to kind of look at your own characters, see which ones can maybe provide some buffs or debuffs, what Grasta you might need to improve Sesta even further. And she has been one of my definite game changers. The Melancholy Aspid, a lot of the, those bosses during that time period, a lot of the bounties, she was the reason I killed them all. So hopefully you can take away some of this information and make your Sesta even more powerful. I hope you got her because she is a wonderful character to have. Anyway, hope this helps. Casual Crono, signing out.